Welcome to another episode on the Move.Talk.Thrive podcast. Today we are talking all things procrastination, why we procrastinate, and what we should be doing about it. We had a little laugh because we're not actually procrastinators, but we do see people procrastinate and talking about procrastination quite a bit. So we thought it's probably a good topic to talk about and talk about what we have in place so that we don't procrastinate. When we were talking about it, I realized that I do procrastinate on things that I don't like. So, anyway, let's get stuck in. You can hear about what I do procrastinate on and what we've got in place so that we don't procrastinate.
We are child development obsessed business besties and mums, and we're here to spill all our secrets.
We have a combined 30 years experience working with children, and each episode we will bring you up-to-date research and evidence-based strategies to set your children up to thrive.
I'm Lizzy Dawson, Australian exercise physiologist.
I'm Emily Mackey, Australian speech pathologist,
And this is the Move, Talk, Thrive podcast.
Are you laughing at the number of times I said procrastinate?
It's like one of those words that when you keep saying it over and over again, you're like, hang on, this is a really funny word.
I
Procrastinate,
didn't
procrastinate.
realize why you were laughing at me, but now, yeah, I probably said it a bit. Anyway.
No, what I was laughing about was that you were saying that we're not procrastinators, but then you said I procrastinate on tasks, but so I am
Well,
procrastinating.
no, because we are not, well, that's what we just said though, isn't it? Like before Don, we are not procrastinators. And then I realized that I have been procrastinating on my business
System.
systems for 15 years. Like I've struggled with it and I have just figured out why I've struggled with it. And I am going so crazy nuts creating systems, much to I think my team's frustration probably, because I've just gone from like zero to hero. But it's because I worked out what was holding me back and why I needed to do it.
And that is basically the podcast episode right there.
Done.
That's how you
Full
overcome
stop.
procrastination.
Yeah, if you connect to why, and I actually sent this to our friend Anna on Voxer because I can't remember, I must have just reached out to her and to check in, and I was like, oh, I'm doing my systems. And she's like, oh my gosh, I struggle with systems.
Mhm.
I told her what I was doing and what I'd learned about myself. And I'm like, actually, I think you might be the same. Like we actually struggle to communicate what we need from people. And that's what your systems are, aren't they? They're like communicating your expectations and what you need people to do. And if you struggle with that, then you struggle writing systems.
There you go. That's the why. You identify the why, and then you remove the blockage, and then you can do the what or the how, right?
Yeah, and I realized that really I wasn't setting people up for success because people don't know what I expect of them or what they need to do, and I'm creating more work for me and them trying to figure it out. And it's just, yeah, it's actually really held me back. So it's
One
been,
procrastination cycle.
yeah,
This goes around and around and around,
yeah.
which is
But no,
procrastination.
otherwise I don't think I really do procrastinate.
I think we're probably more the other end of the scale, if there is one, where we'll jump too quickly and then go, oh, hang on, big
Yeah,
mistake, and then have to backpedal. So maybe you
yeah,
have I don't know if it's a scale where you have people who are frozen and then people who jump too quickly.
yeah.
Maybe I'm sure there's something in the middle. I'm just making this up the top of my head, but
Well, it's like flight or fright, isn't it? We're in flight.
all the
The other
time.
people are in fright, like they're frozen.
Yes. Is it flight?
It's freeze or flight or fright? It is
Flight?
flight or fright, isn't it?
Yeah. Fight or no, fight. It's fight. I was like, fright doesn't sound familiar. It's fight or fight. Flight or fight. But-
Yeah.
So you're
And
either
so
running away or fighting. So we would fight rather
where
than
does
run
that
away.
fit in with the freeze?
You can make that your own. So now flight or fright. No, what were you saying? I don't know.
Isn't it?
Maybe This is where personality profiles, I've not really thought about it before, but because on the Working Genius, on the personality profiles, Lizzie, you're really low on T, aren't you? Like tenacity, the
Yeah,
details, and pushing things over the line.
yeah,
So maybe that's as well where sometimes procrastination might come in, is around those tasks that don't naturally come to you. And so you need to have your cup really full or lots of energy to be able to do those tasks and not put them off. That's how it is for me. Like I'll put off things because I'm just like, oh, that requires too much mental energy from me, or that just requires me to be in a really energetic state to do that because it's going to
yeah.
take a lot of energy from me because it's not my natural sort of disposition to do that. And that's like my biggest thing is life admin.
Yeah.
Like he will attest to this. He's always like, have you done this for the car? Have you done this?
Oh, no, I don't do that.
No,
I'm
no,
like, Kate, that's your job.
no.
That is your job.
Yeah,
You
he
manage
does
that.
most of that for us, but there are specific things where he's like, can you get this whatever for me? And I'm like, yeah, just to procrastinate. It's not because I can't
Yeah.
do it. It's just I'm like, that's just gonna take a lot of energy
Yeah,
to do
totally.
that.
And I've just looked it up and it's actually fight, flight, freeze response.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's exactly what
An
you were saying.
involuntary survival mechanism where the body either prepares to escape danger, flight, become immobile and shut down, freeze, when it perceives a threat.
Hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were saying. So, most of us are either we'd identify as a procrastinator, or we would know somebody who is a huge procrastinator. Like most of us listening can probably identify or hold someone in their mind. I think the biggest thing for me, I'm not a procrastinator. I have to constantly tell myself that person's not being lazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not, if you identifying as being a procrastinator, it's not because you're lazy. And there's lots of science that, backs that up, but
Yeah.
it's actually looking at the triggers.
Yeah.
And this is what you were saying, Lizzie, is you had procrastination, but you had to identify why you were procrastinating. Once you identify the trigger, you can remove that and move forward.
Yeah.
So, um, some triggers, what would some triggers be?
Mm.
Like if you're overwhelmed, if
Yeah.
there's too many, like if you perceive a situation as overwhelming, because that varies per person, right? What you perceive as overwhelming. I might not, what I do, you might, and it depends on the context as well.
Maybe so we're talking about a trigger to
Why
procrastinate.
you would procrastinate.
Yeah, so mine for the systems was just not like fully understanding. Well, I think it was not fully understanding why, but maybe also not fully understanding why I particularly, like in my situation, struggled with communicating what I need. And I think, more to what you were saying as well, it's really just about understanding the people that you're working with in a non-judgmental way. Like just because someone is not doing something, and feel like we go to this all the time. Like if we try to understand why that's taking place for both ourselves and for others, I think, that puts us in a position to progress forward and not procrastinate and help them and support them.
Mm,
Uh, because, it might be that like I remember last year we had a team of full new grads and there was a bit of procrastination or like things were taking a bit longer than they should have. And what we identified was that they were all, being perfectionists. They wanted everything to be perfect before they put it forward. And I find that quite a lot. And so we did like a team day and we created progress over perfection as being one of our values, which really aligned with the client work that we were doing because we were like, we don't want the children that we're seeing in therapy to perform perfectly. We really focus on progress. So that's something that we really value. And it's something that we want everyone to bring to their work. because they were all fresh out of uni and we don't expect them to be able to write a report perfectly, but we need it to be timely. Otherwise, it impacts, like the flow on effect is so, it can be detrimental to like the onset of therapy. So we need that to be timely. It's part of the communication. And so we can work out and this is how I put together my whole assessment protocol, which has got templates and everything, which was a collaboration piece where we sat down and we went, okay, what do you need? What works? Like we work together. And I think it's really important to understand yourself and others and what's causing that.
Mm.
That's what you're talking about with triggers. But I think,
Mm.
yeah, it can be internal.
Yeah. And if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, like that education piece, or if you have unclear goals, which would be like why you're doing what you're doing, then that is a huge trigger slash cause of procrastination. If you don't know why, often if I'm procrastinating on something and someone brings me clarity and says, okay, well, this will help you get here and help you do this, and this will have a flow on effect to this. I go, oh, okay. And then I just get on with, I actually do what I need to do because I understand the goal or the reason behind it. And so sometimes, yeah, having unclear goals or unclear direction or clarity or perfectionism. Perfectionism. What is it? What's the quote? Perfectionism is the um, perfectionism. No, I'm not going to say that quote because I don't know what it is. Barrier of progress, is it? Perfectionism is the barrier of progress.
The enemy of progress.
That's what it is. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress.
Winston
Um,
Churchill.
yeah, there you go. I'm wondering if then it's more about how you, like I was saying before, you need to, if I'm going to do something that is doesn't come naturally to me, I have to make sure I've got my cup filled up. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling like I've got space and time, whether that comes back to emotional regulation. Because if I'm feeling regulated, then I can tackle the task that I'm perceiving as hard. Whereas if I'm in a state of stress or a state of overwhelm or a state of you know, hunger or whatever it is, I'm not going to have that ability to tackle, and I'll probably just sit in procrastination.
Yeah, so is regulation interchangeable with, energy management, really?
Yes, I think so. Emotional. So
Same thing,
talking as
isn't it?
adults, if we're not regulated, which covers a whole sphere of things.
Yeah, so how do you get regulated? How do you manage your energy? How do you
Yeah.
make sure you've got enough energy to do the work? When are you most potent in terms of your energy? Like
Mm,
I know that I need to do like deep work tasks at the start of the day and the end of the day. And in the middle of the day, I need to just talk to people and have meetings and don't
mm.
do anything with detail because detail's not great for me.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. And so if you're in a workplace where you are procrastinating, say, on reports or paperwork or
Mm,
progress notes or conversations with certain people or getting information from
mm.
parents, you probably need to look at your own emotional regulation state and to look at, okay, what's happening internally and what's happening externally, and what do I need to do to regulate myself? And
Or
that's
even
something you can answer for yourself.
Yeah, even like like difficult clients, it's the same sort of thing. Like anything that is that you might that isn't coming as easily to you as other things, what can you like sandwich that with that's going to help you in terms of getting through it? Um, yeah, I was talking to someone the other day, because I'm like planning crazy. I love it, like just adore it. And I was mentoring her and I was like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And this is, several sessions in, so we've kind of already done this. And she's like, you know what? I really struggle with that. I really struggle with it. And I said, well, why don't you take the work side out, like work side part of it out, and don't focus on the career side. Where do you see yourself in 5 years personally? Like, where, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to get married and have kids? And she was like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to travel and da 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 da. It's so easy. So it's kind of like, how can you reframe it or even start the process with something that is energy boosting for you, or like, to put in your words, like regulating for you. Something in my planning that I do is really look at those like I do the personal stuff first, because I love to dream. I love to kind of visualize where I'm going to be in 5 years and how it's going to be amazing, and all of this stuff. And then I will map out the plan, which is all the details, which really is not my thing. Like, I find it quite exhausting, but because I'm connected to the big, juicy life that I'm like, working towards, I can do the details. And then as we've spoken about so many times, that then just predetermines my week and my schedule and what I'm going to do in the day, and I don't have to think about it. And then I'm working towards this big, big goal by doing a tiny little task each day. Uh, but really, when it comes down to it, I just think about, the holiday house that I want to have at Noosa.
But that is basically the opposite. Like, that's how you get out of procrastination, is you have clear goals, and then you break those goals in down to micro steps or micro goals, and then you just do one simple thing each day. So I think that's a really practical strategy that you've offered, because it does take time to set aside to get to that point, to break down your goals. But sometimes we can just feel so overwhelmed that something seems too big. So it's like, where do I even start with that? Or how do I even
Totally.
start? But it's not just the start that's important; it's the finish. What that was from The Summer I Turned Pretty, the episode I watched
Oh,
last night. She said, "Oh, she was talking about first loves, and she was like, the first love's always important, the start." But she was like, the start doesn't define where you go; it's how you finish. I loved that. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to
mm,
use that with my team," but I'm
mm.
using it today. But it's important that you have the first step, but then it's important that you have all the other little steps to get the task completed or get it done or find your next love. I don't know.
Can you tell me what episode you're up to now?
Oh,
Or just tell me what's happening?
um,
Spoiler alert.
oh, they just announced their engagement at the family lunch, and her mum
Oh,
blew up and his dad blew up, and they just left in
are
separate
you
cars.
still Team Jeremiah? And maybe
Yes,
last week you were, I feel like you've been
I
like,
was Team Conrad. Now I am Team Jeremiah at the moment. At the moment.
yeah, but you've
Yes.
seen the part that would turn you off Jeremiah, you would have already seen if they're engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
cheating.
yeah. Yes.
So
Yes, yes.
they were on a
Yes.
break. Come on, they were on a break.
I'm sort of loving Jeremiah at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
Totally off
Incredible.
Conrad. So side note, side note. So
Yes, sorry. I digress.
but the micro goals are sorry, it's important how you finish.
Yeah.
Um, I think another big thing for me, if I'm procrastinating, is I have to have accountability with someone. I perform
Yeah.
really well if I have somebody there saying, "What are you up to? How'd you go?" And it's like a love-hate relationship. I hate that person asking me and keeping me accountable, but I find that it does actually help me break through procrastination.
Mm, yeah. I feel like I'm accountable to my plan, but I've also got my mentor that I'll check in with her and tell her all the things. And she'll kind of, it's almost like I have a plan, and then she'll be right, like, identify things in the plan that I need to do or along the way that I need to do. And then she'll keep me accountable to that. And they're quite often like really small things. And usually they are around the energy management,
Mm, mm.
which is so interesting, isn't it?
Surprising, yeah.
Yeah, because really at the end of the day, and this is what Lorraine says all the time, like, if you don't have energy, you won't be able to do anything. So
Mm,
if and the other thing I was thinking while you were talking then is like making it fun. How can you make it
mm,
fun? Whether that is, even if it's like an awful task, Is it that you could go and work somewhere like from a
Mm.
nice location? Is it that you could reward yourself with a nice lunch after it? Like, what is it that how can you make this more fun? Like, for my planning, I go away for two
Mm.
days and do my planning. I mean, I love the planning anyway, but it's such, and maybe that's why I love the planning, to be honest, because it's also time on my own. Like, I can just step away and really kind of think big picture and dream and,
Have
you know,
space and time.
I've made it fun for me.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I had to do that a lot in the business because you're wearing so many hats, right? And you just have to do a
Yeah.
lot of the things. You don't really have a choice. And I discovered, you know, after struggling through stuff for a long time, it felt, I discovered actually changing the location would actually really give me that motivation I needed to overcome the procrastination. So I would take myself down by the water because I loved the water.
Mm.
And I would sit and I would make sure that I had a nice lunch. And that was enough for me. But it really does help having those little like rewards or just thinking about, you know, other things around the context of the task to help you overcome that. I think that's really important, and particularly as a business owner, because there's lots of hats you have to wear and you're not necessarily talented at all of them, but at the start, you've just got to do it. So, and obviously, a procrastinator is not going to say you've just got to do it. It comes back to having your habits of discipline, which you and I had developed as we were going through the business as well. But
Yeah, I feel like discipline is really important. And I think if you, uh, I think if you struggle with it, you quite often will tell yourself, oh, I'm really bad at, like, I procrastinate all the time.
Mm,
But I think it's really helpful to think of a time that you were really disciplined or a time that you didn't procrastinate, um, and then reframe that for yourself as well.
mm, mm. And sometimes I find that if I break, like you said, break up into small steps, but break my work up into intense periods. So at the moment, I'll go really intense for one full day and then have 4 days off.
Mm.
So breaking it up into like sprints, whatever that looks like for you. So it might be like a really focused 1 hour power hour and then have a little bit of a relaxed session or like a little bit of a less intense session, or it might be paperwork power hour and then client session because the client is the people focused and that's easier.
I find that people struggle with procrastination when they move from that clinical into more of a leadership position because you are not like it's not half an hour or hour by hour like
Mm,
bound to time like you are with a client. But if you can identify those tasks or those things that you need to be doing and give them a deadline like the same way that you would a client, which is an hour or a half an hour, I think that that's quite powerful if you're
mm,
getting it in your schedule. And I think we've spoken to that before, but I think if you one, a deadline is, works really well, but maybe even identifying what works well. Like,
mm,
do you work better under pressure? Do you, what style are you in terms? Because I know some people leave it to the last minute. I've got one of them in my team. She's like, like it needs to be last minute because that's how I operate. But it's just if you know that, as long as you're getting it to a deadline, you got to just give them a deadline. If they work, like if they're the people that leave it to the last minute, if you're someone that leaves it to the last minute, then just,
give yourself
manipulate
deadlines.
that last minute. Like when's the last minute? Give them the last, give them that
Mm.
time that they need to work to. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think
And
if
then,
you,
yeah.
the common theme there is the more you understand yourself, right?
Yeah, what your triggers are. I think another big one would be fearing failure or feedback.
Yeah.
That would be a big one. Or, like that, like we talked about being a perfectionist. So you
Yeah,
want,
that's
you
massive.
want to wait for the right time, you want to get it done. But the other one is like, I'm too afraid that I'm going to fail or get bad feedback about this. So it's just freezing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so that's working on yourself and working on your mindset around how you view failure. Where, I think we've spoken about it many times that we've failed so much, haven't we? But
Oh
then
my
just
gosh.
it's just then turned into an opportunity to grow and learn, either personally for ourselves or then to improve something. Like then you've put systems in place around that failure. Or
Yeah.
you've gone, okay, I know now not what to do. I will change and tweak this for next time and do this way.
I
And
think you
I
just got to
think,
get comfortable with failure. Like,
yeah, with the failure, I think it comes down to like mindset and a bit of resilience, but also going that big picture thinking, like, yes, I've had a failure. So like say when I'm a speechy and say I've had a failure with the parent and the parents complained about me. In that moment, I still think I love being a speechy. I love what I do. I love the clients. I love helping and having that impact. And automatically your mindset shifts from the failure to your why. And then I go, okay, so next time I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I might chat with my mentor to then make sure that I don't receive that complaint because, I've just sort of figured that out, but I've had the perspective around it to keep encouraging me to keep doing what I love.
yeah. I think like getting feedback and understanding feedback is so powerful because it's only then, and that's, someone might view that as failure, and sometimes it feels like failure. Like if a team member's not happy with, whatever you're doing, or, whatever it is, or a client isn't happy with the service, it can feel like criticism, it can feel like failure, but you need to flip the script on that and identify that that's what's going to make you a better leader, a better clinician, a better businesswoman,
Better anything at whatever
a
you're
better
doing.
anything. Yeah,
Better at
because
report writing,
yeah, and I think,
documentation. Yeah.
I think that I've always been almost obsessed with feedback. It's like, okay, what's going on? Why aren't they happy? I want to know what do we need to change to make that a better service or a better journey for them or a better process? What is it that we need to change? And I think when you get obsessed with that, it becomes it almost becomes kind of liberating to hear the negative feedback because you're like, right, we need to change that. We need to do this. We need to,
Mm.
I kind of like that.
You don't take it too personally, even though it can be perceived as a criticism. It's not, about your worth or who you are. It's just about what we need to improve with skills and tasks.
I've got some chat GPT prompts here on figuring out why you procrastinate.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Good
Yeah, you can do
question.
that. So I just said, yeah, just talk now. Yep.
So I just put in to ChatGPT, like full disclosure, this is from ChatGPT,
Lizzie uses ChatGPT all the
all the
time.
time, all the
Yeah.
time. How do you find out why you procrastinate? And so it's given me like 5 steps. One, notice patterns. Ask yourself, when do I procrastinate most? Is it mornings versus evenings, work versus personal tasks? Look at what kinds of tasks you put off. Are they boring, overwhelming, unclear, or high stakes? Keep a journal to note when you catch yourself delaying something. Number two, identify the emotional driver. Is it fear of failure or imperfection? Overwhelm, if the task feels too big. Lack of clarity. I liked
Yep.
that.
That's a good one.
Um,
Yeah.
so you're not sure what the first step is. Low value. The task doesn't feel meaningful or urgent. And
Mm-hmm.
reward systems, short-term pleasures like scrolling or snacking override long-term benefits.
That's really good. That is so
Yeah,
succinct. I love that.
yeah.
Everyone
Then
can do a
ask,
self-examination.
I know, right? Ask why, what am I avoiding? Instead of why am I procrastinating, flip it to what feeling, outcome, or step am I avoiding right now? So like my systems, for example, what am I avoiding? It was almost like I was avoiding confrontation. Like I was
Mm.
avoiding asking what I wanted because then someone might say, I don't want to do that. Or, like if I mean that's very surface level. I just thought of that in my head just now. But check your energy and environment. Sometimes procrastination isn't psychological, it's physical, low sleep, poor nutrition, stress, lower focus.
Which is emotional regulation, right?
Yep. Lack of breaks can create resistance. A distracting environment makes tasks feel harder. That can be me when I'm at in my clinic. I procrastinate a little bit more because I get distracted and talk to people. And then it's just got ask yourself some reflective questions. So, what about this task feels uncomfortable? If I broke it into a 5 minute starter step, would it feel easier? What's the worst thing? What's the worst that could happen if I did this badly?
I love that. That's
I know.
amazing.
I love
Everyone
going like
can
that.
just have a look at how they can overcome their procrastination by putting it into Chat GPT. But don't use that as a way to procrastinate on what you actually need to do.
No. How funny. But I think it's good. Like, there's just some, powerful questions and ways to identify why.
Hmm. And that's the most important thing, right? So you've got procrastination, having that self-awareness, and then overcoming that. How we overcome it, it looks different for everyone, right? But you can definitely go from what Lizzie's just said. And if you need more clarification, ask ChatGPT. But I
Love
feel like everyone experiences procrastination, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how long you've been out in the profession, or if you're a new grad or a student, it's really, really common. It's really, really normal. So let's normalize that feeling and work on overcoming that together. And the more you talk to people around you, the more everyone will be like, oh, I do this, I do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have any other thoughts on how you've overcome your own procrastination, we'd love to hear. Let us know. And if you have a peer or someone, a friend that you think would benefit from this podcast, share it with them. We always love to. We always love to help as many people as we can. If you can give us a 5-star review or give us some feedback on what you're loving, we would also love that and appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening to this episode, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.